Let's check in with the doc and look at things with a wider lens. Pastor Richards on OMG.
All right, let's see if he's on the line. Hello, good morning.
Hey, good morning.
Morning, Pastor. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. I would trust you were doing great too.
Not so great, but thank you for asking.
How did the baptism go?
It was beautiful.
Yeah. Okay, one. I can imagine all of the emotions wrapped up. That's a big moment right there.
It is a big moment. It is a big moment. And he was a good boy, so.
Well, I do these things from time to time, and boy, I tell you, some of them are very active during this process.
Yes, very active and vocal too.
Very vocal. All right,
I
hear you. I heard Nyla on this morning.
Yes.
And I really appreciate that that you took the initiative to bring her on. This matter of she's spoken quite a number of matters related to women, domestic abuse, intimate partner violence, child abuse, sexual molestation. She followed some of what she's been doing, and she has really been very vocal, utilizing the social media. And she has been very constant in the sense that some people get on a platform and stay on it for a little bit and then jump off. But I think for the time that I followed her, she's been relentless, frankly speaking.
Do you think she's well supported, Pastor?
As I've watched her, and because she's posting on Facebook, I have also watched the reaction, and somebody correct me if I am wrong, but I see an unfortunate thing happening because the cause for which she is standing for the defense of women and children against all of these myriad of issues, I think they're worthwhile, and I think they're worthy, and I have actually commented favorably and positively and applauded some of the stuff that she's doing. Even the sex offenders registry. This is not just recently she's been calling for that. She's been calling for that for quite some time, and there's some hurdles here and there. But you asked the question, and here's the answer. What I perceive, and again, I can be corrected, okay, because there are things I don't know, so maybe I'm very wrong here. But what I perceive is a conflating of the issue with politics, and not just with Nyla. Apparently, sometimes people focus on the messenger and lose the message. And I think sometimes with her, people... So I've seen people who have said, oh, well, she has an axe to grind, a political axe to grind, and therefore, she is using this to grind her political axe. I thought that was just a ridiculous position to take. Is there merit in the issue that she is defending? Is there merit to the cause? Is she making it up? Is she manufacturing figures with respect to domestic violence, intimate partner violence, sexual molestation, sexual crimes against women, and rape, and all of that? Is she making it up, or are these things real? And if these things are real, what advantage do we have for what advantage do we get out of conflating it with our political agendas? And so the kind of support that Nyla needs, if the powers that be, when I say the powers that be, you have heard me talk on this radio station time and again, and I want people to understand that I have a particular understanding of power, which it is not limited to political power or legislative power, position power. I've been dissecting the different forms of power time and again on the station because I want to teach and get people to understand where the power is and who has the power in this country. And I've said time and again, predominantly the major forms of power, resource power, position power, legislative power, even in the enforcing, in the judiciary, the major figures are all predominantly men. You know, you have heard me say this over and over again. And to get these people to line up with Nyla is like pulling teeth. What has happened is that, again, unfortunately, the matter is being politically weaponized. Again, that is just my take, Daniel. Politically weaponized because some see in it an opportunity to point fingers, to get at, and it gets away from the issue. It gets away from the issue, and it becomes a weapon to be used against people in different positions and offices, and who would have executed. I mean, I get that. There's no excuse at all for what I call an act that is worse than murder. You heard me a few weeks ago say that to have this kind of, to commit this kind of act against a child or against a woman, this sexual violence, rape, is an act that is worse than murder, and I had good reason for saying it. So there's absolutely no excuse. You won't find in me any kind of sympathy at all, Denny. I'm telling you right now, I'm trying to stay calm, but you won't find any kind of sympathy at all in me for anyone at all who does this. But when we politically arm it, weaponize it, we lose sight of the focus, the larger goal, the juicier goal, the big target becomes, what can I leverage this to get towards, rather than the hurt and pain of countless young children around our country. So, and then on the other side of this coin, so to speak, you have people who would like to dismiss the charges, or dismiss the accusations, or dismiss the allegations, and say, no, they are only using it for political reason, but there's really no merit to this, and they don't get justifiably, they outraged. They don't get outraged. They don't lift a hand or lift a finger. They might even be they might give token appreciation of the pain that the child is going through. They might utter the words that you expect them to say, oh, well, this is wrong and all that. But in terms of getting righteously outraged at what was done, they're not. I listen, Daniel, I listen, and they're not righteously outraged at this thing. And again, it is because they are thinking that this may have political implications, the people they know, etc., etc., etc. So, for various reasons, I listened to Nyla and listened to the response to her, and realized, man, somewhere in this, the kind of collaboration and oneness in attacking this issue that I'd like to see, the kind of passion, the kind of energy we should put into legislating against it, putting the policies and procedures in place, whether it's the sex offenders registry, the work of the Ministry of Mobilization in this, the enforcement from the police, and just a lot of energy ought to be put into this from one side or the other, because again, it's an issue that is becoming politically divisive. But I think on this matter that NDP should be, and the NDP supporters should be rallying and leveraging all that they've got against this. And I think same way the ULP, I think there should be one voice on this. But I can guarantee you, a lot of people that I know, depending on which side of the political spectrum they are on here in St. Vincent, the kind of vibe I hear I mean, I won't even have to know if you're ULP or NDP. I could just listen to you how you speak on this matter, and I could say, wow, you're sympathizing with ULP. Wow, you're sympathizing with NDP. And that's how bad it is, that your party affiliation and your connection is coloring the way you view and speak on this issue. So that's really horrible, Denise.
Pastor, if you don't mind me interjecting, just something that's weighing on me. One of the things that I think briefly came up in the discussion this morning was, I'll put it in my own words, okay? How you go about dealing with your relationships of a person who is accused of something like that. And as a man of God, what advice would you give to someone who is in a close relationship or closely associated to someone who's being accused?
I mean, that's an easy one. That's an easy one. And in 2 Corinthians, I think it's 6:17 or 5:17 says, light has no fellowship with darkness. All right? In fact, that's the antecedent. But the verse 17 itself says, come ye out from among them and be ye separate. And I think that's a very, very clear biblical, and I'm glad you put it in terms of what is the biblical injunction regarding this. And you can't be, there's another term that is used in the Bible about being unequally yoked. And it has, people apply it only to marriage, but it is to be unequally yoked is it is an agricultural image of putting two oxen together that are not matching, and it makes a mess of the plowing if the two are not matching. So you have to yoke or join them together when they're matching. And I use that in my life. If values are not equal, if lifestyle are not equal, if activities are not equal, then you don't find me being connected and buddy and friends with people who are not equally yoked with me. I think the Bible says that you should not be unequally yoked. And if I would not consider someone a friend whose values are that divergent from my values, you just can't be my friend. This is part and parcel of close friendship, is that we are to share certain commonalities. And for me to consider you as a friend would intimate and indicate that I share your values. All right? And in a substantive matter like this of molestation, of even the accused alleged molestation of a child, you just come out from among them and be separate. You have to show yourself separate. You have to clearly denounce this kind of thing. Disavow. I mean, and that is what a true friend would do, I think. I suspect that a true friend will disavow clearly that kind of stuff. Now, further, let me add to this, because I understand, and I'm speaking now as a counselor, okay? You asked me the question as a pastor. I'm speaking now as a counselor. I understand that the people who do this are horribly sick, all right, mentally. Normal people don't go having intercourse, whether with consent or without consent. That is irrelevant right now, all right? It makes it worse if you're raping, but I don't know, it is both of them dastardly, sickening. And normal people don't do sick things. It takes a sick man and a sick mind to conceive and do these sick things. So in counseling, that's a clear indication, and there's a pathology going on there. And when I say pathology, I know this is, you might think biological diseases, but there's also pathology related to mental diseases and mental illness. And that there's some kind of morbidity within that individual, that if you are really a friend, you are not going to cover it up. Guy needs help, Guy needs help bad. In certain counseling situations, what I do, and this is pastors and other people and church people listening to me, you don't have to, this is my position, so you don't have to follow it, but in certain situations and people who have counseled listening this, you know that I have said this to you. Depending on the nature of the relationship between the man and the woman and the matter that they come to me for counseling for, if it is severe enough that I detect that the guy is sick mentally, I actually take it as my responsibility, having properly diagnosed that, to advise separation until the guy can go through a course of treatment, a schedule of counseling, and whether it is, there's a whole slew of therapeutic intervention that can be used. Some of it doesn't even need chemical intervention. If one of the cases where I detect chemical intervention is needed, I have made, I've done a referral to where they can get some kind of help. But some of the different therapeutic intervention methodologies that I have used, over a period of time you work, but you want the separation so that this guy who is sick can get well. Typically over a period of time, whether it is 10 modules or 10 courses or whatever the case may be, then you might prescribe, okay, he's well and he's ready for re-entry, and therefore, you can again try to reunite. The people are sick when they come to you with these kind of issues, Daniel, and the guy is sick. And if you're a true friend, what the course of action would be is to investigate if this is a real thing, if this really happened. But as I said, if it really happened, because again, I'm covering the station, for legal purposes, you have to say stuff like this. So if this really happened, then a friend would not, deal with it in this kind of defensive kind of way. A true friend will like, boy, you sick. Well, you might not say, boy, you're a sick man, but you will definitely push for some help and whatever redress and stuff. That is, I hope I answered your question, Denny, because it's a question that is out there. Mm-hmm. How do you relate to somebody who has done all of this? And I'm telling you, the relationship will be altered. You can't be, like I use two terms biblically, equally yoked, and you can't be in the same circle and running and as if nothing is different, because what is this? Your silence and your failure to disavow and your failure to be outraged in a way will make you seem complicit. And the Bible is also clear on this. Don't let your good be evil spoken of. Don't let people get the wrong impression of you. So if you're going to be silent about something and not say something, it will sell a message as if you are complicit in this, whether or not you it will send that message. So the nature of the friendship and the nature of the relationship changes once these allegations are made. You have a duty as a friend to find out if they are true and then to act accordingly, to disavow, very clearly disavow, and see what measures and help this guy can get to get some help. I think that's all I want to say. Well, I also wanted to say today, Daniel, again, take me seriously, and I'm speaking as a counselor, take me seriously when I say that this is worse than the destruction of this sexual act. Counselors who do even whatever type of counseling you use, methodology, you will discover that the fabric of life is messed up. I mean, the suicidal thoughts, the sexual dysfunction. You have people who years later can't even have proper sex with their wife or their husband. I say wife or husband because they're boy. We keep thinking it's only girls that go through this, but I am aware of a number of boys who, even institutional boys, and the kind of physical abuse. I mean, the diarrhea. I mean, I don't want to be gross here, but they can't even keep the stool in, and what they think of themselves and the things they do is a mess. Them boys are ruined for life, These boys are ruined for life. Big man take these boys and lie down on them and do all kind of sordid acts with them. And some of these boys are cutting up themselves right now. I mean, these are cases that I am aware of. the disassociation and study it. Go look up what dissociation does to someone. These women are disconnected. The shame that they feel. Some of them, I listened to a song you all played a while ago. These women sometimes they bathe for long. They're trying to wash away what can't be washed away. It's a mess. It's a mess. No one should take these kind of acts lightly, and particularly when they're done to little children. You mess them up for life. It's worse than murder. It's a wicked, and you should not take these kind of acts lightly. All right, then, that's all I want to say today.
Oh boy, Pastor, you always leave us in this,
Well, I want people to think about the gravity of this thing. It's not a light thing. People should think about it, and I thank you for the opportunity to share on this, and thank Nyla for sharing what she said this morning. Take care.
Thanks a lot, Pastor. Have a good day.
Take care, bye.
Let's check in with the doc and look at things with a wider lens. Pastor Richards on OMG.